Welcome to the world of labor strikes, where ordinary men and women dared to stand against the tide, demanding justice, fair wages, and basic rights. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a nation transformed by industrialization, innovation, and ambition. But underneath the mask of progress, a battle was raging that would shape the course of American history. Our journey begins in the late 19th century with the Homestead Steel Strike of 1892. A watershed event in American labor history, this strike was a key occurrence in the timeline of industrial unrest. The historic conflict at Andrew Carnegie's Homestead Steel plant illuminated the tribulations of labor movements at the time. Workers were demanding improved working conditions and fair pay. The clash was emblematic of the era's power struggle, as laborers and employers locked horns. The situation was exacerbated by the involvement of government, often siding with employers. This landmark dispute highlighted the struggles faced by labor movements of the era as they grappled with violence and government intervention. Fast forward to 1894, where we witnessed the Pullman Strike. This was a time when the American industrial landscape was on the cusp of a tremendous shift. The nation was intrigued, watching closely as unfolding events promised to redefine the dynamics between employers and employees. The strike, a nationwide boycott of Pullman cars, became a symbol of resistance for workers everywhere. It wasn't just about fair wages, but also dignity and respect. Front and center was the American Railway Union, showcasing the strength of united labor. Their contribution was significant, playing a pivotal role in supporting labor. Next, we encounter the Bread and Roses Strike of 1912 in Lawrence, Massachusetts. In the heart of the Industrial Revolution, a city brimming with mills, this monumental moment acted as a significant milestone. The strike was the result of a deep-seated dissatisfaction amongst immigrant workers, particularly women, who relentlessly strove for their rights. Despite facing harsh challenges, they refused to buckle under the pressure. Their powerful voices echoed through the mill yards, demanding justice and fair labor practices. This remarkable event underscored the role of immigrant workers, particularly women, who persevered in the face of adversity to demand better working conditions. The Great Steel Strike of 1919 brought into sharp focus the post World War I tensions between unions and corporations. This pivotal event in American history, often overlooked, represented an incredible struggle for workers' rights. At the dawn of the 20th century, industrialists and employees found themselves at odds, seeking mutual resolution in a rapidly evolving society. The strike itself, a tumultuous event, gripped the nation with its tales of resistance and resilience. It marked a turning point, a monumental clash of interests, forever changing the dynamics of power. It was more than a labor dispute. It encapsulated the struggle for social justice. The strike's repercussions, far beyond immediate economic consequences, permeated deep into societal structure. This event was integral in reshaping the labor landscape in the process. The innovative Flint sit-down strike of 1936–37 was a definitive moment in labor history. During the harsh winter months of these years, the city of Flint, Michigan, became a battleground for the rights of industrial workers. The heart of this conflict was the auto industry, where workers were striving for better wages and working conditions. Their primary method of protest was the sit-down strike, a disruptive yet peaceful form of protest that drew nationwide attention. The workers were not alone in their struggle. They were supported by the United Automobile Workers, UAW, a nascent labor union that saw this as an opportunity to establish itself as a powerful force representing the workers. The UAW spearheaded negotiations with the auto industry leaders, pushing for significant improvements in the workers' conditions. The strike and the subsequent negotiations, despite being fraught with tension and conflict, yielded significant gains for labor. This event was a turning point in the labor movement. It showed that workers, when united, had the power to bring about change in their working conditions. This success solidified the role of unions in the American workforce, demonstrating their importance in safeguarding the rights of workers. The Flint sit-down strike of 1936–37 saw auto workers making significant gains for labor, solidifying the role of unions in the process. The Delano grape strike, stretching from 1965 to 1970, was a pivotal period in American labor history. Spearheaded by the tireless dedication and unyielding spirit of two men, Cesar Chavez and Larry Itliong, this social movement was an effort to combat the grave inequities experienced by farm workers. Faced with perilous working conditions and meager wages, the laborers sought change in the agricultural industry. Chavez and Itliong, influential leaders and fervent activists, championed nonviolent protest. They mobilized a powerful boycott campaign, employing peaceful means to champion their cause. Their methods were effective, leading to significant improvements in pay and working conditions. In 1968, the tragic deaths of 2 sanitation workers during the Memphis Sanitation Workers Strike sparked a monumental upheaval. This was not just a strike for humane conditions, it was a demand for respect, dignity, and equality, a call that reverberated across the nation. 2 men lost their lives in what can only be described as a calamity. Their sacrifice, however, did not go in vain. The outcry was deafening, leading to nationwide attention. The incident served as a turning point, effectively highlighting the severe work conditions these public service workers endured, ultimately leading to improved working conditions. The Postal Workers' Strike of 1970 was indeed a significant event, a bold and audacious move by federal employees. This was more than just a simple protest or grievance. It was a major stand against the status quo, a challenge to the government itself. The workers were tired of being overlooked, of their rights being trampled upon, and they decided to make their voices heard. They downed their tools, ceased their deliveries, and made the cities realize just how much they relied on their services. The strike itself was widespread, reaching every corner of the country. The nation stood still, the mail stopped, and the workers made their point. The impact of this event was huge, leading to significant reforms in workers' rights. Important legislations were passed, regulations amended, and the plight of the federal employees was finally recognized. This event was so much more than a strike. It was a pivotal moment in labor history. The Air Traffic Controllers' Strike of 1981, also known as the PATCO Strike, marked a significant episode in American labor history that led to considerable repercussion. In the heat of summer 1981, tensions rose high. Air traffic controllers, under the banner of their union PATCO, decided to strike, demanding better working conditions and pay. However, their actions were met with a firm response from the then president, Ronald Reagan. Reagan's decision not only reshaped the power dynamics between government and unions, but also significantly impacted corporate attitudes. The reverberations of this event weren't just limited to the aviation industry, but echoed across various sectors. It signaled a shift in government and corporate attitudes toward unions, with lasting consequences for organized labor. Last, but certainly not least, we honor the Garment Workers' Strike of 1982. A historic moment, it showcased the brave stand taken by a group of Asian American women in the bustling heart of New York's Chinatown. These women, determined and resolute, were not just fighting for improved working conditions or fair wages. They were laying the foundation for a broader movement, challenging societal norms, and standing up against the suppression of their rights. Their struggle, their courage, their relentless pursuit of justice led to a significant shift, paving the way for increased recognition of women's rights.